Welcome to If I Rule the World, where four pretend politicians sit around discussing make-believe policies which will never be put into practice, rather like the Liberal Democrat Party conference. And joining Jeremy Hardy on the red team tonight is Richard Wilson, and with Graeme Garden on the blues, Andy Hamilton. Well, politics is a high-risk business. Only this week in Russia, Boris Yeltsin sacked his entire cabinet and woke up the next day and said, God, was I drunk last night. I hope I didn't say anything stupid. Which brings us to Soapbox, which gives our participants a possibility to outline their policy, specifically on foreign affairs. Graeme Garden, you've had many foreign affairs yourself. What is your policy, though, in that area?
To keep quiet about them.
Yes. But to do with other countries, have you got any...
Oh, no, I never have anything to do with other countries. They're miles away.
Yeah.
What we have to remember is that we're all Europeans now. In fact, we're all Belgians.
Andy?
Yes, well, obviously, Clive, as global citizens, I think that the main area of concern at the moment for us is Africa. We're particularly worried about President Clinton's visit to Africa. I read in the papers the other day that in advance of his arrival in Ghana, the authorities were rounding up prostitutes. Now, I can understand he's got a busy schedule. It's easier for him if they're all in the same place, but...
Well, we mentioned America, but Jeremy, what about France? That's been very much in the news headlines.
Bonsoir Clive, bonsoir mesdames et messieurs. Je m'appelle Jérémy. Je voudrais l'entrecôte et pour ma femme, la salade niçoise. Suive-moi, mon ami. Je suis avec le maquis. Ah ben les boches, vive la résistance. Monsieur Dupont est dans la salle de bain. Il se lave.
Ici.
Madame Dupont est dans la cuisine. Elle prépare le petit déjeuner.
Well, you've obviously worked very hard on your accent.
J'aime les tomates, mais les tomates, n'aime-moi pas.
N'aime-moi pas. You'll work on the grammar. Richard, what have you got to say about foreign affairs?
First of all, Clive, I'd just like to say I don't think the Israelis are going too far building settlements around the pyramids. Some people accuse our government of having a bias towards the Israelis, but we say bias schmias.
Very good. What about the single currency and...
Est-ce que c'est la plume de ma tante? Mais non, c'est le mien. Je l'ai acheté.
Yes, I think I might go back to the blue party, or the party bleu, as you would call them.
We must look towards Russia.
Must we?
Yes, they have a saying in that country, never put new wine into old Boris.
Yes.
And he has recently been troubled by the Chechens, but got over it now, apparently.
I'd just like to take issue with Jeremy, because he was talking rubbish.
Excusez-moi, monsieur le gendarme. J'ai perdu mes valises.
Well, that's an easy thing to say, but I mean, we've no evidence of that. You didn't even come in with a valise.
You are therefore now a minister without portfolio.
Il y a un pamplemousse.
If I may say so. What about Saddam Hussein? We haven't mentioned him. Do we have a view on anthrax being important into the country, or...
I don't like to leap to judgment, but I think that probably having anthrax in duty-free shops is a bad idea. On balance, people will buy more than they need. They'll get their friends to use their allowance. It'll fall off overhead lockers.
Well, it's only because anthrax is so much cheaper abroad.
But if Saddam wants to play tough, I mean, we have our own germ breeding program. We don't call it that. We call it a beef policy. But and I think we shouldn't be scared to take the ultimate step and send the RAF to bomb Baghdad with laser-guided diseased cows.
Right.
Which is quite an awesome weapon that we have, particularly when the cows panic on the way down, apparently.
All right, I think we've got the picture there. So we have to move on now to try and investigate political posters, which are always a puzzle to us voters. Jeremy and Richard, this is the latest offering that your party's come up with. What is that about? What is that saying?
Well, it's part of our energy promotion campaign. It says, I have been to Sellafield.
Yes.
It may also be something to do with our reversal on policies on reducing class sizes. We're saying that it doesn't matter how many pupils you have, as long as you've got a super head.
Yeah. Well, let's look at yours, which is strangely familiar. But what political point is being made here by this poster?
Well, we could use it as an anti-pollution campaign. Are hormones in the water affecting Tim Henman?
It's actually a quintessential expression of what is great about cool Britannia. Because if you look, she's young, she's cool, and if you look very carefully, you'll see that although she has no opponent, she's failed to get a single ball over the net.
Yeah.
What could be more British than that?
Well, it's a very nostalgic one for me because I had that on my wall when I was a student.
Yes.
The picture of the bus, sadly, because I was into buses, but other students did have the tennis player. Which
This sums up the Blue Party. It's their whole attitude. Their slogan is, whatever your racket, always cover your ass.
Yes. OK, we want to test the water now, and indeed better than that, to see how you're likely to vote. This is just a snapshot of your voting intentions, so if you prefer the red party, vote red. If you prefer the blue party, vote blue, and vote now. There we see 67% to the red party, 33 to the blue. You're losing by some way.
Yes, well, I mean, we're very heartened by this result to see them clinging on desperately to a miserable 67%. But, you know...
But you're clinging on to even more desperate 33%.
Yes, Clive, but this is a very small sample that we've taken here.
Yeah.
I mean, if you were to go outside into the street right now and talk to people out there, I'd be very grateful.